I watched your interview where you talked about her. But I wanted to ask, what did you feel when you watched her film for the first time? Because she was a mother to you, not a star. And it was only, I think, after some years that she let you watch her films. Did you feel anything or
Actually, she was not. It's the contrary. She wasn't someone who promoted or pushed. We didn't
yeah?
live in a Hollywood home, a mansion with screening rooms and all of that. We lived in a country, in a farmhouse. But in those days, an actor would receive a 16 millimeter copy. There
Yes.
was no VHS or
Yes.
DVDs or Blu-rays or digital or anything. So the only copy that they could get was a 16 millimeter print. She had all of her films. And I said, well, I'd like to watch them one day. She said, whenever you want. There was an wonderful old Bell and Howell projector, sort of prosumer, if you may, better than the kind you get, for home movies. And they had that wonderful sort of speaker that is in the cover, and they have a long cord, and you put it. And so I laid out a sheet up in the attic, in the summer with the windows open, and I sat in an old sofa that was up there, and that's I learned to use the projector, and that's how I discovered her films with real film projection, with that wonderful flickering light and the sound of it, and so all the magic was there. And that's how I discovered that she was not just my mother, but that she was a wonderful actress. But it really wasn't until she passed away, and our little hamlet of 600 people filled up with 25,000 cars, and as far as you could see them parked along these country roads, and people lined the streets and came to pay respect as we carried the coffin to the little church and then to the cemetery.
Yes,
It
we
was
still.
eye-opening, and the reaction of people and the letters. I mean, by the time she passed away, in the attic, the same attic where I discovered her films, there were maybe 30 or 35 the lawn and leaf garbage bags that you use, when you go outside and collect the leaves, professionally. The big, really tall one, meter 50, were filled with letters, get well, books, origami, you name it, books on shark cartilage, anything that people could send, they did. It was extraordinary. The mail woman would drag a bag every day to the front door and look at us like, what's going on? She normally had delivered the mail on a little scooter. And during those 2 weeks that we came back, they had to actually rent her a van to bring the mail twice a day to the house because of the quantity, So the whole thing was disproportionate and kind of, extraordinary.
We remember watching that funeral. We remember her very simple coffin and so on. We were early stalkers of. So I'd like. How old were you when you were first watched her film? Were you in?
I was then living in Switzerland, so I was 13, 14, 15.
You don't remember what film that was? Was it
The first one?
Yes.
No, I think it was Love in the Afternoon or Funny Face or one of those.
So she never really talked much about the movies, the films.
No,
That was her
she
past.
was not someone. She was very healthy that way. When her work day was done, she came home and she didn't bring the work with her. She was,
Not
and
even
when she gave up her career to become a full-time mom, because I could no longer travel and be with her on the set, and she'd wanted a family and she'd wanted kids. And I think she realized, as I think we're starting to realize, that these Wonder Woman who can do everything at once and have kids and career and take care of the house and be a wife and look good, at the event and so forth, is a very, very hard thing to achieve. Let me tell you, this is the woman who knew how to get dressed and do and this and that, whatever. It's hard work. It doesn't happen naturally. It has to be planned. It's hard work. And if you look at all of those paparazzi pictures of her walking around Rome, she always looks impeccable and lovely, and she's just going out for a little shopping or whatever, So she realized she couldn't do it all. And so
As
she
a,
gave up her career and became a full-time mom.
I see, and you enjoyed it. As a hands-on mom, is
Of
there
course. I
anything
think it's
about,
one of the greatest gifts that any parent can give you. First of all, we were lucky because we cannot take parents, or you don't choose your parents, you don't choose your kids. So it doesn't always work out. I mean, there are times when you don't particularly like each other. You may love your parent or your child, but then their nature may be such that it doesn't click. Well, we had this lucky thing. Maybe it had to do with the comedy gene in the family. I think one of the greatest things is I could make her laugh, really laugh from her stomach. And there were many times which that was needed because she was sad and things were not going the way she hoped for in her personal life.